Julia sat at her wooden desk with a large, colorful notebook. Her parents were going to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary soon, and she wanted to plan a surprise party. She opened her piggy bank and counted her savings carefully. "I have enough money, but I must plan my budget very strictly," she whispered to herself. She wrote down the costs for food, decorations, and a venue. Finding a place for the party was more difficult than Julia expected. She spent the whole afternoon searching for a venue that was not too expensive. Her cousin Asher helped her look through advertisements in the local newspaper. "Look at this community garden, Julia. It is beautiful and fits your budget," Asher said, pointing at a small photo. They decided to book it immediately. A few days before the party, guests began to arrive. Julia's favorite uncle, Leopold, traveled all the way from Germany to be there. When he arrived at the house, Julia met him at the door. "Is the secret safe?" Uncle Leopold asked with a wink. Julia nodded and hugged him. She was glad to have extra help for the big day. On the morning of the anniversary, Julia and Asher went to the community garden early. They had to decorate everything before her parents arrived. They hung silver ribbons and sparkling fairy lights between the trees. "It looks like a dream," Asher said as they finished the last corner. Julia felt proud that they had created something so beautiful with a small budget. When Julia's parents, Arthur and Elara, arrived at the garden, everyone jumped out and shouted, "Surprise!" Elara was so shocked that she covered her mouth with her hands. Tears of happiness filled her eyes as she looked at all her friends and family. Julia ran to her mother and gave her a big hug. The party was finally beginning. However, things soon became stressful. The food delivery was very late, and everyone was getting hungry. Julia called the catering company, and the driver sounded worried. "There was a bad traffic accident on the main road, and I am stuck in a long line of cars," he explained. Julia sighed, hoping the food would arrive before the guests lost their energy. The problems did not end there. The music band that Julia had hired did not show up. They had confused the dates and were in another city. Julia felt like crying. Her father, Arthur, saw her sad face and walked over to her. "Don't worry, Julia. A party is about the people, not just the music," he said gently, trying to make her feel better. Suddenly, Asher had a brilliant idea. He noticed an old, upright piano in the corner of the garden hall. He sat down and began to play a famous, happy song. Julia realized she knew the lyrics and started to sing along. Soon, all the guests were standing around the piano, singing and laughing together. The lack of a band was no longer a problem. Suddenly, a police officer appeared at the garden gate. "We received a complaint about the noise," he said. Julia's mother, Elara, went to talk to him. She explained that it was a special 25th anniversary celebration. The officer saw the silver decorations and the happy family. He smiled and said, "It's a beautiful celebration. Just please turn the volume down a little bit." Finally, the food arrived, and the night became perfect. Arthur and Elara danced together under the glowing lights while the guests cheered. Julia sat back and watched her parents. She learned that even when things do not go according to plan, love and family can turn any disaster into a wonderful memory. It was the best gift she could ever give,